afternoon in the East and good morning in the West. I am so super happy to be here with you all this afternoon, this day, and especially to talk about how to be bold, big, and bad while you amplify your personal brand and propel your career. Here is the one thing that I'm going to suggest that you do to make sure that the conversation that we're about to have, that you are really ready to dive in and walk away with some impactful tips that will work specifically for you. The one thing that you're going to need to do is to get your pen and get some note paper to write with. But I already know you a savvy woman and you have that already, but I just want to remind you to get ready. This is going to be interesting. So I want to dive into talking about ways that you can really leverage your brand even in times such as this. And this may be the best time to be able to really propel your career. Here's the reality. The world of work has changed and it demands different type of professionals, especially a different type of professional woman. Yes, you are intelligent, you are smart, you are savvy. However, we want you to step into the next level and lead boldly. And in order to lead boldly and to really grow into your bigness and to leverage your badness, there are some tips and strategies that are going to help you to be able to do that. And I'm about to give you the business. So make sure you get your questions ready for me because at the end, I am looking forward and super excited to do Q&A with you. So let's talk about what are some steps to help you to really amplify your personal brand. So step number one, treat your career like a business. Yes, you heard me correctly. Treat your career like a business. You are your own company. You incorporated. You are your own CEO of your career destination. Treat your career like a business so that you can stay out of what we call the commodity zone. Here's the commodity zone is that there's one like you on every shelf, at every different various price points. You're not special. We can get one of you any place. We just need to put an ad out. You want to keep yourself out of the commodity zone and really start to delve into the value that you bring to the marketplace. And how do you do that? Two important ways. The first is get clear about your career mission. What is your why? What is your why for being in this career that you're in, choosing the path that you're on? And another way to kind of really peel the layers back on the why is what is the problem that your skill set solves in the marketplace? How can you help that potential employer or the one that you're with? How can you help them to be able to support the end user of their products and the products and services in the marketplace? How can you help them to be able to better serve their clientele while also growing your own specific skill sets? So think about what is your why? What's your mission? Because the other thing that a mission does for you is it brings you back to center. So listen, when times get tough at work, when you've got to work on projects, deadlines, or even when you need to come up with new initiatives, when you can tap back into your why, your mission of why you chose this path on your career and how you're able to better serve on both levels, internal, external customers, and how this helps to really grow your talents to the next level, then it will re-energize you and help to realign you. The second component for you to treat your career like a business is to have a career vision. The old saying, without a vision, you will perish or you'll end up any place. Is that what you really want for your career? Is to end up someplace and you don't know how you got here? Trust me, that has happened time and time to some of the most incredible professional women that I know. However, when we come back to the center and we start getting clear about what is the vision that you have for your career. Now, I don't want you to just say, you know what, I'm just going to just say, oh, well, my vision is to become VP, right? That is a worthy vision. That's a worthy goal. That's something to aspire towards. However, you need some components to really make that vision concrete. And a couple of the components that you need is quantitative and qualitatives. Quantitatives, you need time frames. Listen, you got to light a fire under it. The time is now. Approaching your vision with a sense of urgency really helps to focus you on being strategic with your time, your energy, and your efforts. So look at giving yourself a time frame. I love try the Trinity, 3, right? Give yourself 3 years to set as a time marker to get to the next level. You also want to think about from a quantitative perspective is income. Let's face it, you really do want to get the value for the skills that you bring in helping companies to solve their problems. So you want to start getting really clear about what that next level looks like from a value, from an income perspective, and what needs to happen in the middle to help get you to that income level. We're going to talk a little bit more about in the next bullet point. And then qualitatives, you want to really think about what is the impact that your vision will have. Impact such as how maybe perhaps you will lead teams, how you perhaps will be able to create a new product, service, or system that will then help your employer to be able to reach their goals. And then also thinking about the impact that you want to have in your own professional development. So treat your career like a business. Get your mission, get your vision statement together so that you can be able to have your roadmap that will lead you and propel you and support you in the next level. The second point that you can be able to do to propel your career is I want you to leverage your professional brand. Here is what I mean by leveraging your professional brand. And let's just talk about professional branding for a moment. We hear personal brand and professional brand. So they have some similarities. The only difference on the professional brand side is that you get to curate your professional history. So when I say curate, think of the same as if you were going to an art exhibit, where there may be hundreds or even thousands of different types of artwork from a particular artist. However, the museum isn't showing all of that. They're only showing a select few, of different art pieces that tell a story. So I want you to take a moment and really look at curating your professional journey. Some of those skills and talents got you to where you are, no doubt. Yay. However, for the next level, it is going to require that you really look in your toolkit and say, this can go and go deep with it and really strengthen and develop that skill, or this doesn't go. So you say, well, what happens, Vaneese, if someone asks me, how did I get here? You do share with them how perhaps other skill sets helped you to get to where you are, but you're not using that to bank on for the next opportunity. So really curate your skills. So that way you're really pulling out, of that journey, of your professional journey so far, you are intentionally, strategically pulling out what you want to leverage on, and that is connected to your mission and your vision. Because when they're in concert, it's easier to execute and build on your professional brand. So far, I hope that I'm saying information that is making you go, And I hope that you are jotting down some questions because I got a few more points to go because I want to make sure to give value other than just me giving you descriptions. The next part in leveraging your personal brand is to create a professional marketing plan. The same as before when I mentioned about treat your career like a business, put together a professional marketing plan for your goals, for your vision. And your professional marketing plan should consist of the skills that you bring to the marketplace. It should consist the target audience that you want to serve. That can be your internal customer as well as your external customer. It also should include branding activities. So that way you can make sure that you are self-promoting. And when I say self-promoting, I'm not talking about self-promotion where you're bragging about yourself, but I'm talking about strategically self-promotion so that the right target audience can get in front of you, so that the right target audience can be able to hear from you specifically the value that you bring to to different work relationships. So take a moment and really think about your value. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to jot down what is the value that you have brought to the current professional relationship or the immediate past professional relationship. And here is how I want you to qualify the value. So that way you're really intentional and strategic about what you are choosing. The way that you can qualify your value is look at past achievements, accomplishments, goals, and think about how have you helped, companies to solve problems. Think about that for a second. How have you leveraged your skills to help your employer, your company to solve problems based on the service or product that they bring to the marketplace? And things might come up like, well, I've helped them to, launch a product to the marketplace sooner, quicker, faster. Fantastic. But break that out. What did that process look like? You can high level it, right? Because you can go deep a little bit later, but high level it. What are the things what are the steps? What are the actions, that you took to help them to solve that problem? This is a really great marketplace that really is challenging a lot of professionals to stretch beyond. So you heard that when Cheryl came on and did the video about positioning yourself and prepping yourself to do your video meetings, she talked about some different techniques that you can do to show up, as polished as possible. Perhaps in this type of environment, maybe you've taken the lead in helping to create some type of internal process, some type of internal system to be able to, as a guide for your colleagues to follow so that they show up as their best. Or perhaps you have come up with a strategy in terms of how to better lead remote teams and protocol for remote team leading. Or perhaps you have found a way to galvanize the talent in your organization so that people are still becoming maybe even better high performers now that they're out of the typical work environment. So I really want you to think about that value. The other part is think about dollars. How have you helped your employer to save money? Manage the budget a little bit differently, especially during this time period. So think about that for a moment. What areas have you saved money on and helped the company to realize the opportunity to save money? Because the truth be told, we've had to all learn how to do business differently. And some of the areas that we would have spent, maybe money on and perhaps even gone over our budget, we're not operating like that anymore. So think about maybe different terms that you've negotiated with vendors, because of the time frame that we're in. So think about that aspect. Another way to look at leveraging your talents is, what about your colleagues? How have perhaps you've become a valuable asset to your colleagues? Everyone is adapting differently, to, working from home and shelter in place. Perhaps you have maybe become the saving grace for some of your colleagues to help them to stay on track. Or perhaps you've started an internal group where people can come together to be able to meet up and have coffee meetings, to be able to talk about where they are challenged in their work. And this can give, maybe you become the leader, of that group. And maybe part of what your role is, you find interesting tools and resources so that you can help people to really be able to understand how they can make this current time work for them. So I've given you some really good ideas to think about. And before I give you a couple of more on leveraging your brand, I'm just going to pause for a few seconds because I want you to really take that in, make some really good notes, because when you leave this session and when you're reflecting on this amazing day that you've had, I really want you to be able to think about, here are some concrete strategies that I was able to take and now I can use. So I'm gonna hush for a few seconds. All right. So I'm going to keep going, and please get your questions ready. I can see the chat box is on fire over here, and I can't wait to delve in. So keep the questions coming. I definitely have some support here with getting your questions to me. So I really want you to keep them coming so that we can dive in, in a few minutes and be able to answer some of your questions. Now, I wanted to add to leveraging your brand, in some other ways. So one of the ways that I'm going to tell you is hands down one of the best ways to leverage your brand starting right now. And one of the best ways is good old-fashioned LinkedIn. LinkedIn is still the number one professional networking site in the world, perhaps even in the universe. So LinkedIn also is one of the most undervalued tools in the professional world. So I really want you to think about a few things with LinkedIn. Number one, update your LinkedIn profile. That is an amazing branding tool for you. It's like your own personal professional website. Update your LinkedIn profile. So that way, people can really get to know who you are today. And they get an opportunity to be able to see the journey in which you have come on, and to be able to, that has allowed you to arrive where you are. It's a good place to put any of your certifications. If you have participated, maybe you've done some volunteer work, it's a great way to be able to demonstrate that. It's also a good way to, again, put those awards, those accolades. It's a good way for you to highlight particular skills that you now want to market and leverage for the next level of your career. It's a good way for you also to be able to upload documents that you have created. And when I say documents, I'm not talking about proprietary information. So, that's a no-no. But I'm talking about perhaps things that are publicly posted, publicly available. So here's an example. So perhaps you wrote in the company's newsletter. And maybe that is one of the areas of talent for you in communication, is that you're a really great writer and you contribute, monthly to the company's, again, newsletter. So that is a wonderful and amazing branding piece that you can be able to share on LinkedIn so that others in your profession can be able to see your contributions internally. And it's also a good way for people to sample your writing style, because they will be able to actually see that. Another amazing thing that you can do with branding yourself on LinkedIn, slideshare.net. So please jot that down, slideshare.net. So that is a presentation portal. It's a portal of presentation decks from different professionals around the world. What's really great about slideshare.net is that you can go in and create a professional deck based on a point of view that you have either in the industry or perhaps even with your own professional skills. You can do it in PowerPoint or you can do it in Google Slides. You can upload it into slideshare.net and you can connect that to your LinkedIn profile. So yes, you can have a piece of your professional presentation work. You can have that resting in your own professional profile on LinkedIn. It's a fantastic way for other professionals to be able to see and experience your point of view. Again, perhaps maybe on a particular role that your title, job title, and or industry information. And when people want to get to know you better, don't fret about what am I going to send them? What do I give them? Then point them to your LinkedIn profile and say, on my profile, you can download information about my professional journey that hopefully can support in answering questions about you or about me, right? Meaning you. And another thing that you can do on LinkedIn that is probably underrated is you can publish articles. So you don't have to go and start a professional blog unless you want to. But LinkedIn is a fantastic way for you to publish professional articles. I love LinkedIn that you have the ability to do that. So you can write your articles. A fun tool that I use to help with my grammar check and to help with my subject verb agreement is I use scribindi.com. And what I'm sharing with you guys, I'm not promoting or pushing their product or their services. I'm not an affiliate, so I want to be really clear with that. I'm just sharing with you some tools and techniques that can be helpful. But with Scribindi, you can have it professionally proofread, and it can be back to you in a matter of hours. And then you can be able to get stock photo and add stock photo, to your article and publish it on LinkedIn. And then people can start to follow you. You can copy the link to that. You can share within your network. And of course, you can definitely make sure that it's in your LinkedIn timeline so that the people that you are connected to now can recognize that, wow, this is another level of your professional brand, is that you're publishing articles now. So those are some really great ways that you can be able to take your professional brand and leverage it up to the next level. And I want to just kind of sidebar one second, go back onto the curation part, and then we're going to continue with the last 3 bullet points. On curating your professional brand, and I'll give you an example from my own professional past. In case you can't recognize, I like to talk. I used to get in trouble in class for talking in class. And I may be dating myself when I say this. I used to have to write lines, as part of homework. I will not talk in class. So sometimes I would have to write 25 lines. Sometimes I might have to write 75 lines and then to be due the next day. But what I recognized is that my talent and my gift for talking, it really brought some value to my career. So I have taken my skill of talking and I have intentionally fine-tuned that, to add becoming a really great listener. That has helped me to then become a really great business coach, because I've learned to hear between the lines what people are not saying. And also with my communication skills, I've been able to build my professional career around opportunities that are all related to communication. So you can look at really what parts of your professional really life that is singing out loud, that is begging for you to take me and use me and build your career around that. And I can tell you, it has been one of the greatest blessings in my career growth is to pursue from my talent that and curating around the communication area. It has been the greatest blessing and opened up so many doors for me. And it allows to continually keep me happy with my career. So that's what I mean by curating, is really look at what's making your heart sing, that's connected to those accomplishments and achievements and goals that you have so richly achieved and deserved and been acknowledged, because that could be the part that you need to really work on in your career and go deep with it. And we'll talk about depth in a moment. So I hope I've given you some insights on ways to leverage it. So now what I want to do is to take a couple minutes, not even a couple minutes. Let me just take a few seconds. I want you to jot down, what are 3 areas that you can do to leverage your career? What are 3 areas that you can leverage your career? Or here's a part 2 to that, or here's an or to that. What are 3 areas of talents that you have been underutilizing, that you absolutely love to do, and you know they bring value because you have evidence? What are those 3 areas that you really need to highlight? or should I say you get to highlight, because that's an area of appreciation when we get to. That's an area of gratitude when we get to. So take a few moments, just write down three ways that you can leverage your brand, and or three areas of your skills, your talents that you can leverage that you perhaps have been overlooking. So write that down. I know you all are probably thinking, I was not trying to do any work, Vaneese. I was trying to come and sit and listen and sip on my coffee or sip on my tea. But we are realigning. We've got to put in some work. So great, 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 great. All right, let's continue on to the last 3 points that I want to share with you to help you to amplify your personal brand. So you want to create a bold, big, and bad career blueprint. And when I'm saying bold, big, and bad, that's not a catchy phrase. That is very intentional, and I'm going to break each one of them down. Bold has to do with two components. One is, and they're one and the same, one is becoming out loud daily. The second part of that is branding out loud daily. Here is how they are one and the same. This has to do with you really owning, striving, and thriving in your authenticity. There was a saying from Oscar Wilde, and I hope I can get this correctly, is that be yourself because everyone else is already taken. Every day, look for opportunities in your career to thrive in your authenticity. What is authentic about you? You heard me give an example a little while ago about me and getting in trouble talking in class, and then creating a whole career and a whole business around communication. So that is my area of authenticity. And yes, there are times in your job that you're going to need to do things that need to get done. Let's just face it, that's life, period. However, I really want to encourage you to look for those areas where you can show up in your authenticity, where you can show up from a place of ease. You can do it without even batting an eye around it. That is your area of bold. Stop denying yourself and trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Go to your area of bold and look for opportunities where you can brand out loud daily. If you're great at solving problems, look for the opportunity in your organization to be a strategist. Look for ways that you can be able to create solutions and opportunities, in the organization to help others excel in what they do. And when I say create opportunities, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to position yourself to take on more work and more stress from colleagues because they're coming to you for the answer. You really want to approach this from a strategic standpoint, right? And the strategic standpoint means that learning to ask really good questions so that it challenges other people to think about before they come to you with just any out the blue question, that they themselves have to say, you know what, when I go to Barbara over here, she's going to give me the answer, but she's going to ask me more questions. So perhaps let me really think of a great question, to pose to her so that she can give me the best answer. Also, that's an opportunity for you to perhaps help to groom people or teach them how to leverage into their bold by being strategic in giving it back to them as a way for professional development for them. So find the authentic way that you can be able to stand in your boldness. If you are a natural born leader, look for the opportunities to lead. And if they're not there, be bold enough to create an opportunity where you can lead. But stand in your bold and look for ways to brand out loud daily. Another way that you can check, the meter on if I'm branding out loud daily, have internal conversations with people that you know, like, and trust. And have conversations with them and ask them about their experience of you. Ask them, how do they see your authenticity showing up? Now, I'm going to just put this out there. This is not a ping pong match where you're defending yourself based on what they say. Take it in. It's only feedback. It doesn't really mean anything until you do something with it, right? And here's the truth of the matter. Sometimes people show up being inauthentic. And there are times when we need to really know that about ourselves, because if one person is experiencing someone showing up being inauthentic, more than likely other people are experiencing that individual as well. And is that what you want for your career? Is for people to experience you in being inauthentic when you know that being bold and owning who you are and striving and thriving is really important to the health and the wealth of your career. So really look at ways that you are defining your branding out loud daily or becoming out loud daily. Next is big. Build in your genius, not somebody else's, in yours. One of the disservices that social media does for us, and I'm gonna put this on Front Street, is that sometimes we see other people doing so much and we think we should chase after what they're doing. No, no, no. And speaking of me moving my finger, we all have a unique fingerprint. That means you have value and uniqueness that was given just to you. Build in your genius. Go deep. So I mentioned again, go back to the area of communication. So me talking, go deep with that skill set. Take classes, get certifications, practice becoming a really great communicator, fine tune that skill set. If you have an area of genius, don't spread it too thin. It's okay to take the one area of genius and go deep with it. And here's how you go deep. Put on a piece of paper whatever that area that you have that's your genius. And I'm going to use communication again. I'm going to use talking. And so under talking, ask yourself this question. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do with this? What else can I do with this? So make a what else list around your bigness so that you can be able to see all the different areas of opportunity that you can be able to grow with your bigness. Too many times we give up so quick, on our talents and our gifts because we're like, oh, it didn't turn into anything. Oh, it's not moving mountains. Well, perhaps because there's an opportunity to cultivate it. There's an opportunity to really take it, fine tune it, or break it apart and see what components need to go, what needs to stay, and dig deep in those components. So build in your genius. And if you find that, I'm having a tough time coming into my genius because I'm always looking at other people, stop. Stop looking at other people. Even I back away from time to time from Instagram. I back away from Facebook. I even back away sometimes from LinkedIn because I need a fresh mind so that I can connect with my talents and gifts so that I can continue to be big. So I'm going to invite you to ask yourself this question. What is in the way of you growing your bigness? Tell the truth. What is in the way of you growing your bigness? Yes, you have to write that down. And based on the answer that you come up with, then what's going to be important in that is for you then to address how do you tackle what's in the way of your bigness. And here's the other way, as a way to inspire you to dig deep in this question. Think about what's the reward on the other side. If I build in my genius, what is possibly available for me on the other side? Is it that promotion? Is it that new title? Is it the opportunity to really shine in your boldness? So really think about what's in the way for you developing your bigness. Be honest, be open, and go after it so that you can really change the course of your career in a way that works for you. And the last part of the area of your business, of your bold, big, bad career blueprint is to be bad. And what I mean with bad is to be branded and distinctive. Here's the reality. If you're working on these other points that I've given you and shared with you, your reputation should precede you in a way that opportunities come to you. Your reputation should precede you in a way where people are calling you, emailing you, and presenting things in front of you that hadn't necessarily they were on your radar, but they were maybe not on your immediate radar. but because your reputation is out there as a woman who is all up in her bold, big, and bad, they want you on their team. They've already created a way that you will fit into, this opportunity. And you want to make sure that the right people in your network know about your badness. Otherwise, you're just a diamond in the rough.
Well, Vaneese, you're a diamond in the rough. We are so thrilled. You have women on fire. I got to get a couple questions in. I know I cut you off just a little bit, but I hope you'll forgive me because it's from the love of these questions. We have lovely questions, and I want to hit you with this first one. So what does curating your brand look like in practice? How do what do I do? I did all this stuff. How do I curate my brand?
That's a really great question. And here's what I would say. Do it the same way that you would do if you're planning a vacation. What do you need to put in your suitcase? Everything doesn't go. So you really want to think about, what is your destination? What is that career goal that you have for yourself? And what will that look like when you arrive there? And what talents and skills do you need to take with you that will help you to get there quicker, sooner, faster? That is what curation in action looks like. If you're a person, again, who is really great you have really great communication skills, and under the communication area, writing. You're like, I am a really great writer. I write great memos. I contribute to write proofreading other people's, maybe even ghostwriting for some of the executives in my organization. Perhaps writing is one of those skill sets that you love and you need to curate. So now what you do is you look at that from a perspective and you say, well, what are some of the high level projects that I've worked on that have perhaps gone nationwide in the organization or been published? Then you will take that skill set and continue to build on that up to the next level. And perhaps that next level could be working in the PR firm of that organization. So I hope that's explaining that.
That was awesome. Vaneese, if you don't spell the name of that website, Scribindi, Odyssey Media is going to send all those emails to you. Please, oh please, spell Scribindi.
I think it's Scribendi. So Scribendi, Scribindi. And someone put Grammarly in the chat too. So scribindi.com or Grammarly.com.
Now, one last question, and I again, this is for the women. They got a suitcase, they packed it all up, but they're just not sure where they're going. They're not sure about their career path, and they really want to know what your advice would be in corralling all that curation, corralling all that information, and figuring out where to put their car on the road to get to.
That is a really great and deep question. A few things. Assessments. Career assessment tools are really great. There are Myers-Briggs tests, assessments that's out there as well. There's DISC that's out there. There is the other one that's the 2.0. It's escaping me. It'll come to me in a second. Perhaps that's a good place for you to start, is to do some of the assessment tools so that you can be able to sit back and really go through and read those areas and see what's rising to the top. And more importantly, connect them with an actual achievement, accomplishment that you had where it benefited others. So that is really the telltale sign. Does this particular talent, does this skill, what is the value that it has brought to others? And when you can connect that value in alignment with what you love to do, in alignment with the direction of where you want to go, hey, you have got a suitcase and a destination that is just waiting for you to show up.
Vaneese, you are amazing. I think we can squeeze in this one last question. Yes. How do you get people to promote your brand and push your brand?
Great, thank you. Oh, and in the chat, Strength Finder 2.0, thank you for adding that. So here's what I do. I love brand ambassadors. That is one of the best ways to promote your brand, is to create a group, a club of brand ambassadors. These are people that are out there being your champion. So either they're sponsors, they're mentors in the organization, and or they're your champions. These are the individuals that you are talking to on a consistent basis. You're having coffee meetings with them, even on Zoom. You're having coffee meetings with them. You're catching them up about, what opportunities you're pursuing in your career. You may even be setting goals with some of them and checking back in with them when you are hitting certain milestones in your career. You are making sure you're keeping these people in the loop, because they then go out into the marketplace, whether the marketplace is internally with your company, or perhaps they're out networking in the industry. They keep you at front of mind, and they are out there championing you, your brand, your contributions with decision makers that are in their circle. So it's important for you to sit down and start to think about who could be my brand ambassadors. And some of them already may be your brand ambassadors. They may be singing your praises, and you're kind of just saying, oh, well, thank you for saying that. I want you now to really look at that information differently and ask them more strategic questions. You're sharing my information. May I ask, what is it about what you're sharing that makes you comfortable sharing? And how do you see me leveraging what you're sharing? What would be your suggestion where I could leverage this up to the next level? So really engage your brand ambassadors with the whole focus in mind that they can help you to be bold, big, and bad in your career. I hope that was helpful.
Oh, Vaneese, I think everybody is thinking to themselves, it's like having Vaneese in my living room to tell me everything I ever wanted to know. And does any of this change because it's COVID? Do any of these answers, is there some special thing that you do now that you wouldn't have done before?
What now I think that COVID has really allowed us to do as professionals is really to review the professional relationships we have and how we've been showing up. So this is a good opportunity to be introspective and reflective, to really, put the time and the focus on putting, really getting clear about what's next in your career, and reaching out to connect with or reconnect with people that you haven't spoken with in a long time. It's a good time for you also to make those phone calls and to ask for the support, not only asking for support, but offering support to others. So you don't have the commute time, yay. So the time that you would have spent in the commute can be valuable time that you can use to build and strengthen strategic relationships. So really make sure that you're maximizing your time by working on your career and not just in your career.
Vaneese, the ladies are going crazy. They are thanking you. They're shouting at their computer screens. And this is a real, sometimes people give you sort of advice and it's kind of lofty, but these are real steps that everybody can take home. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're just going to turn it back over to Desi. Our work here is done.